Hello, everyone. So, I do want to talk about AEW Blood and Guts, and I want to give my review of this. And I do want to just say that, unfortunately, I was not able to go to Blood and Guts last night because my plane got delayed 16 hours. And then at the very end of the delay, the pilot came out and he said, "You know what, guys, I could fly you tonight." And then he just paused and said, "No, but I'm not going to." Because he was working too many hours. So it did feel like a swerve. This is Delta Airlines, so if you don't fly Delta because I'm saying this based on my experience. They're delayed 16 hours, and they kind of just made a mockery of it. And then the next thing that I'm going to say is, if you ever go to these professional wrestling shows, especially if it's something you really want to go to, just leave a day early because you never know what could happen. Really, you're better off that way. So I should have left on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So lesson learned. So I do want to talk about Blood and Guts. That I do want to say that there were a lot of really great spots in this. That when you had Darby Allin and Jack Perry, I really liked them going into the crowd because when they went into the crowd, what happened was that like you've never seen that before. Blood and Guts. You would think that it's in a steel cage, so it was a little good to do something a little different. And then another big spot that I like was Mark Briscoe. Like he was doing like cannonball off the ladder and a lot of great stuff. Like I really think that there needs to be a day where you do champion versus champion, or you do something with Mark Briscoe where you say, you know what, you can give up your ROH championship to go after the AEW championship. There really needs to be a point where he needs to go after the AEW championship or the TNT championship or AEW tag team. He needs to really move up to the AEW roster. He needs to graduate from Ring of Honor because he has so much potential. He has the mic skills. He has the performance. He has the resiliency. There is a story about honoring his brother. There's so much with Mark Briscoe that you can do. And honestly, if AEW does not put him on the Wembley Stadium card, that would be a middle finger to Mark Briscoe. He's definitely, to me, I think one of the most standout wrestlers of this year. I actually think he is the standout wrestler in AEW because he's definitely really has pushed himself every single time he's had a match, really. So by far the standout wrestler of the year. And even if you look at Swerve and what Swerve's done, he's gotten better, but I do think he has a little bit more power with how he's booked as a champion. But with Mark Briscoe consistently, this guy really has been like the workhorse of AEW this year. And Meltzer may not recognize it, Tony Khan may not see it, but Mark Briscoe is the shit, and I really appreciate him. So I do want to continue and say that the ladder spot. I'm at his cannonballs off onto the ladders and all the other stuff. I really appreciate that. That was really awesome. And then when you saw Anthony Bowens and Max Castor, they did a couple of spots. Really, I do want to say that the worst person on this card was Okada. Like he honestly looked very lost. Like he didn't know what to do. He looked like, I think there was a spot where he was walking over to Anthony Bowens and Max Castor when they're on the ground, and he fell down really just to kind of be in that. But I really think that they just have to talk with him a little bit more. He has to do some choreography and other things like that just to know how to do this. And I hate even saying this, but a lot of people are going to say that. They're going to say that he's Japanese and he probably didn't understand English instructions or they didn't have conversations with him. But I do think that whatever happened with him, this is unacceptable. This is very unacceptable. He really brought down this match. And then it also says, too, if he's more of a Will Ospreay type of wrestler where he's better at feats and athleticism and all that stuff, he needs to do that. He cannot be in a match like this. You would have to find somebody else. Say that he got sick or say something like he got beat where, he was being too much of a jerk and got beat down. But you do not put somebody in a match like this who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. He's almost like the great Khali. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing in this. So, with that said, Anthony Bowens and Max Castor, they did some spots. They know how to hype the crowd, but I wish they could have done more offense. They received a lot of bad moves. Like, Max Castor got, thumbtacks in his mouth, and then he got, kicked in the face. But I really wish you saw a little bit more offense from him. And same thing with Anthony Bowens. He did a table spot, but climbed the cage. He fell off into a bunch of tables. That was something, but you didn't really see him fight back, really. There should have been more like a comeback spot for both of them to make it stand out. And then, like, towards the end of the match, they introduced different weapons. They introduced, like, a barbed wire board. Okada having, like, a sign and whacking people, that was a little stupid. He should have had, like, a 2x4 or something like that. Because the sign that he held kind of looked very, like, it kind of looked very, very floppy, just like, is this... It just looked very fake and floppy. Next time, give him something a little bit more legit. If he's a baseball player, give him a baseball bat or something like that. There's more that he could have done, really. And towards the end of the match, there were some things that I did like. Then you saw Hangman and Swerve. When Swerve came, Hangman didn't come down, so it's trying to make you say, is Adam Page on the side of the Elite, because he didn't look like he was unified with them, and you're starting to see some implosions you're starting to see some implosion teases in the EVPs. How's Jack Perry going to react, because one of the Bucks actually said that they're going to surrender, and Jack Perry's like, no, I want to take it as far as I want to take it, really. So there has to be something said about Jack Perry being like, okay, you guys can't speak for me. And then there's also the thing about Adam Page being a little unhinged. And is Adam Page going to be upset that he's not allowed to do what he has to do? He's still controlled by the EVPs because they're still his boss, really. So I like the elements of Adam Page. You don't know, he's unhinged. So Adam Page comes down. And, what happens is Adam Page's music plays. He's supposed to come down. He does not come down. And then what happens is that when Swerve comes down, Adam Page beats him up. And what's really being articulated is that Adam Page does not care about helping his friends. He more so cares about just his fight with Swerve Strickland. So I do think that that's really good storytelling, because there are people who do that. Like, they're more concerned about one person instead of the whole picture, really, So I like that was articulated very well. But there are some other issues with this. No, I think that was all perfect, really. And then what happened is, then this is kind of what we say about Jeff Jarrett, is that for Swerve to get into the ring, you had Jeff Jarrett come down, and there's this guy, I think Brendan Cutler, and this made no sense, really. Brendan Cutler is one of the friends of the EVPs, and they've kind of beat him up, really, because they feel like, okay, well, Brandon Cutler, you know what, if I'm correct, I think Brandon Cutler is one of the EVP's friends, but I think what happened was that Brandon Cutler is also the whipping boy for the EVPs. When they're mad about something, they beat up Brandon Cutler, so he's still like their friend, really, while he's getting his ass kicked. I think that, honestly, he should have not done that. And then you had Jeff Jarrett come down and hit him with a guitar, and I felt that wasn't needed. But the point of Jeff Jarrett and the point of Brandon Cutler and Daddy Ass, and Nana, they were trying to get Swerve free, and I understand that it works, but I feel like it was a little overdone. I think that you should have had somebody else, really. I think that what you should have done, was that you should have had Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett come out, and they're trying to, like, get an advantage on Mark Briscoe. And then you have Daddy Ass, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal, and a group of maybe eight people versus 4 people, and then that would have worked, really. So it doesn't feel like so it takes the attention away from Jeff Jarrett, because he's known for being a bit of a glory hog, saying that he has to put himself in there a little bit. I think that would have worked. And then also Brendan Cutler's played as a joke, so it just doesn't work. You don't have a joke person in a heel spot. If he's trying to stop Jeff Jarrett and Billy Gunn and a few other people and Nana from trying to free Swerve, it doesn't work if that's a joke person. Again, you could replace Brandon Cutler with Santino Marella. You can replace him with Otis. You can replace him with the Spirit Squad or something like that. You don't have you don't have that person. Yeah, he was the wrong person for that spot really. So so that wasn't good. But then we got Swerve into the ring, and I like this. And the thing that I like about this is that you have Adam Page being unhinged, and then you have Swerve come out, and that Swerve is going to do a great job, really. But you suspend people's disbelief. You give them a twist. You did not expect this to happen, and then he gets freed because that's obviously we want to see that. So, and then the whole thing that I see with this is that you're setting up different things. You're going to set up Darby Allin versus Jack Perry at All In, and I think at All Out you should have Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. I do think that at Grand Slam you're going to have Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland. I do think that at that point Darby Allin needs to lose. No, Darby Allin needs to beat Swerve Strickland. We're at the point where I think Darby Allin needs to be the next AEW champion. I think Swerve's done a great job, but I do think that there is a point where Darby Allin needs to be the AEW champion within the next 365 days. He needs a chance with that title, even if he did something like have him beat Swerve at Grand Slam, and then you do a triple threat between Darby Allin, Bryan Danielson, and Swerve Strickland at Wrestle Dream. I think that would be the thing you do, the three Washington boys. But I think for right now, I would say that for good storytelling and for him to kind of live up to being Sting's protege and all that, Darby Allin needs the AEW championship within the next 365 days, and I'll do a video about that. So the next thing that I want to say is that you reach the end of the match, and you start with the match with a briefcase, and it's from the EVPs. The EVPs have like staple guns, and they staple Swerve Strickland, and now you have another briefcase. Now this is good foreshadowing and storytelling. So you have another briefcase, and they handcuff all the EVPs, and then what happens is that Darby Allin wants to set Jack Perry on fire, and now this is good because this is long-term storytelling. This is I think this is called like subtext, because in like Pulp Fiction, you start with Ezekiel 25:17, and then at the end of the film you end with Ezekiel 25:17. You started at Double or Nothing with Jack Perry being lit on fire by Darby Allin, and now you end Blood and Guts with that, and that's good storytelling because you kind of say like this is how far you're gonna take it. What would happen if they had an Inferno match at Double or Not, at All In or something like that? Like you had or even at All Out. There's something that has to happen there. I also think that if you want to do an exploding barbed wire death match or bring that back, All Out would be the time to do it, really. But I do think that you're setting up some mega matches for AEW with the people involved in this, and that's what you're supposed to do. Just like with the Royal Rumble, you're supposed to set up not just the WrestleMania main events. You're supposed to set up matches throughout the year, matches up to WrestleMania at WrestleMania. So these 10 people, there's stuff that they can do, really. So I really think you're going to have an amazing card. And then, he's about to light Jack Perry on fire. One of the Bucks stud. They look too much alike, really. I'm not sure they're twins, but they look too much alike, really. So one of the Bucks stops the match, and that's actually good storytelling because, like I said before, there's two things of it. It shows that they actually don't see Jack Perry as an EVP or a friend. They see him more as a little brother, and that's what an older brother would do. The older brother will protect the youngest. So there's element of fraternity. You know what? I love you enough to not see you get killed. And that's how far we have to, that's what we got to do to protect our own. So there's a sense of protection, and anybody would do that. If I have like two other brothers, so it's almost like, if I was in the same situation, I know like my brother's going to be lit on fire, and I'm the person to stop it, and I have to take a, say like, I know I surrender on behalf of the team. I would do that to save I would do that to save one of my relatives. So I totally understand that. The next thing that I will say is that it sets up, Jack Perry, as I said before, he could be mad and be like, you know what, you don't surrender on my behalf. I'm not a little kid. I want to go my direction, so you can see some implosion. And then the next thing is that Corey Graves had some things to say about this match. I did not watch his video, but I think that he was concerned about safety and violence. I think that when I watched this match, this was very average, I would say, for the violence I've seen in the Texas Death match between Swerve and Adam Page. Definitely, this is not the most violent AEW match. I really think the most violent match that they ever had to be the death match between Score Strickland and Adam Page. I think that's the most violent one. I know the Explorer Bar death match was violent, but I don't consider it violent because even if you're throwing people into explosions, that is a very graphic act, but it's not like you're super bloody or gory or whatever. But I think that this may have been like maybe it was violent. If I was watching this at home, it would be a strong TV-14. It's not MA or whatever really, but they did a really good job with this. I do think the storytelling was strong. I think that this also tells you that AEW is AEW. So there's a bit of hardcore stuff. There's a bit of there's definitely a huge element of storytelling. These people were there for a reason. The people in the match. I did think that the stuff that you did outside the match wasn't good. It could have been done better with, as I said, if you had some people from Ring of Honor, the Undisputed Kingdom try to stop Swerve from being freed, and then other people like the baby faces on Ring of Honor who are going to be at Death Before Dishonor come down and actually do something that would have been better with Jeff Jarrett and Daddy Ass and Nana. I think that's how I would have done it really. You don't have a joke ass like Brandon Cutler do it. Who the hell is Brandon Cutler? So I will say that I think overall, for a blood and guts show, it was very thrilling. 45 minutes went by very quickly. I would have been losing my motherfucking mind if I was there and I actually saw all this. So I would say that from everything that I've seen, I would give it a B+. And a B+ is very, very good because they do great things hard. And the reason why I give it a B+ is because of the stuff he did with Brandon Cutler. That wasn't necessary, and it almost felt like a Jeff Jarrett hurrah spot. And I know he's the hometown hero from Nashville, but I do not think you're going to have a match with Jeff Jarrett. I think you did Jeff Jarrett versus Adam Page, but what are you going to do with Jeff Jarrett? I do not think that you're going to have him at All In or whatever. So I don't think that. I just think that was a glory hog spot. But everything else really made sense. I do think that you could have done way more storytelling with Anthony Bowens and Max Caster as these wrestlers that may have not been in these types of matches, and they're kind of doing a bit of a comeback. If you did that, I would give it a stronger grade. And then also, too, I think that for all the positives, for all the things that you're doing, for Darby Allin really being groomed to be a AEW champion, 100% Okada was the weakest person in all this. And as I said, he was a little confused. And as I said, that it's hard because we don't want to say he's Japanese. That's a language barrier. And because that creates a stereotype that Japanese people can't understand English, so they don't know what they're doing when they're in a match that's where they receive instruction. I don't want to create that stereotype, but there will be people who will say that. I do think that the other part of it is that the match was very average in violence, but I do think with what I've seen from Blood and Guts really, but I do think, and I will say this, that you need to make Darby Allin a big star out of this. He needs to be the AEW champion. This is very clear that Mark Briscoe should be in the talks for being an AEW champion. There needs to be a champion versus champion match down the line, really. I mean, he needs to be in that, and if not, then just fuck that. Then fuck that, because you have Mark Briscoe, and I think that there's stuff you can do. I really think that he needs to be the next AEW. He also needs to be considered as an AEW champion or contend for the title, really, or even do something where he gives up his ROH title to be to go after the AEW championship. That needs to happen really. But overall, really great, really great event. It's very unfortunate that, as I said, I got like near front row seats. Delta Airlines screwed me over, but that's how life goes really. But definitely Blood and Guts next year. My ass is going to be there. I'm going to leave a day early. And then also I want to say that another thing about Blood and Guts is that everybody in this match, outside of Okada, was something to look forward to. I really say, like, when you have Mark Briscoe and you have the Acclaimed and Score Strickland and Darby Allin, you have people that give a shit about the company, that want to be bigger deals and really figure this thing out and stuff like that. I think Okada has that, but I just think that, as I said, this is not a match that I feel this match was a little too new for him. I felt this match was, I felt like he needs to be a little bit more experienced in hardcore matches to be effective. Or even like just do some practice stuff. Or even like you could have done something like the past couple of weeks, have Okada defend the Continental Championship and have him have a ladder match or a table match or even like a kendo stick match, like something to kind of get that hardcore mindset in his body, really. I think that's what they should have done, really. But there's a lot of things that they can do from this, So definitely, the positives way outweigh the negatives, and that's all I gotta say about this.